Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fancy Novels, and my name is Robin. And today I'm talking about the final book of the Great Leveler trilogy, which is Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. This is an interesting book for me in particular. Like the first time I read the first law books, this is the book that I caught up. By the time I caught up with the first law, this was the book that was going to be released soon, and Joe Abercrombie was just at the height of his popularity and all of that. Like everyone was just couldn't wait to get their hands on this book, and and then this book came out and it disappointed a bunch of people. And Joe acknowledged, that he was burnt out at this point. He probably could have done better, whatever. So like the reception wasn't that great, and yeah. Anyway, what is this book about? So this book follows Shy South, who is a brand new character we've never seen before, and she lives pretty much on the frontiers, like the absolute edges of civilization, and she goes to trade in town essentially, trade the goods that she manufactured on her farm, and when she comes back home, she finds her home burned down and her siblings stolen. So what begins after that is a journey to essentially rescue her siblings. And this journey just goes all over the place. Like she gets embroiled in everything from the destruction of an ancient civilization to the persecution of a rebellion by members of the Inquisition, to the rampaging of a mercenary company. So yeah, it's a pretty wild ride. And the first time I read this book, like I had fun with it because there is no such thing as a bad Joe Abercrombie book. I had fun with it, but it didn't quite blow my mind the way the previous books did, especially coming off the high of the heroes. This time around, I kind of knew what I was getting into, so I just kicked back and enjoyed the ride. And you know what? This book, once again, it has everything that's just signature Joe Abercrombie, like spectacular character work, just these impactful moments in character arcs that you can't that make them such incredible just make them such incredible reads. It's action packed, it's fast paced, it's intense. The writing is it's not as humorous as his previous books, but there is still plenty of humor injected here and there, mostly situational. And of course, this being Joe, like just these spectacular one-liners and thoughts on morality and the nature of humanity and society and these kind of things. So that's all there. That's all par for the course when it comes to Joe and these books. But what this book, where this book is very different from everything we've seen in the First Law before, is that it's basically a love letter to the Western genre. And before I read this book, like I think I noticed it most overtly in the heroes. There was always a kind of cowboy element to the Northmen in particular. Like yeah, they're his stand-in for Vikings, but they're something about the vibe. They also kind of always gave off a kind of cowboy element. It's kind of hard to explain, but this book you see that's not that as much as that influence might have been there, it's completely different from what his cowboys would look like in his world. And that's what we get here. We get a Western book, a Western essentially, a fantasy Western. And when I say Western, I truly mean Western. Like this has all the tropes that you would think of from a Western. There's the cowboys versus Indians. There's a Mexican standoff. There's a cattle drive. There's moments where we have the settlers talking about they're chasing their dreams of prosperity and their aspirations and that kind of thing. Like we have the stranger that rolls into town to deal with an issue. We have this the ride off into the sunset. Like it's all here. It's all here. It happens at different moments over the course of the book, but it's all here. Pretty much every well-known trope of the Western genre, you can find it in some way, shape, or form in here. At the same time, this is still very much a Warsaw book. Like, throughout these books, there's this conflict that happens in the background between some the more arcane forces in this world, and we do very much see that presence here of all places. Like, even on the absolute edges of the world, we see familiar faces return. And when I say familiar, I mean people we haven't seen for many, many, many years. Because that's the other cool thing. Like, quite a bit of time has passed in world, so characters they've drifted quite a bit from where we last saw them. They're often very different people. They're much older, and you can almost sense like a passing of the torch, because these, like, quite a few of these characters, they're beloved characters, and they wear their age at this point. Like, they very much wear their age. You can tell that they're pretty much in the twilight of their stories, and you also see like developments that happen. Like, you see the march of civilization in this world. You see the march of technology and these kind of things, and you see intimations of progress that's starting to happen, even in the strangest situations and under the strangest circumstances. You see that it's very much a passing of the torch. Like, it's going to and we do get that, because by the time the next set of books roll around, the next trilogy in this world rolls around, quite a bit of time has passed, and we're dealing with like, you very much see that start. It kind of started in the Heroes when a particular piece of technology was introduced, but it's much more prevalent in this one. So that was kind of cool to see that the way that transition started to that transition was baked in, or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I don't know, but yeah. Aside from that, like, we have largely a cast of entirely new characters, people we don't necessarily we haven't seen before, and people we don't necessarily care about. Like, I know the main character in particular is a bit of a divisive point for fans, but personally, I don't have any issues with Shy. Like, she's pretty cool to me. And then, of course, there's the crew that surrounds her, like Temple, the guy she rescues from a river. There's Lam, the quiet Northman, who's like a father to her, who's essentially like her sidekick. And yeah, like, of course, there's the big reveal surrounding one of the characters in this book, and the first time around, I don't know, I didn't pick up on it. Clearly, I wasn't paying attention, because this time around, reading and actually like paying attention to what I was reading, very early in the book, it's made pretty obvious who this person is, and either way, it worked for me. So, oddly enough, this book, I enjoyed it quite a bit more this time around than I did the first time. Like, the first time, it was an okay read for me, but this time, like, I had more fun with it. Not just because I was going into it with like better expectations, but like, I really stopped to think about quite a bit of, like just really pay attention to what Joe, not just the story, but what Joe was doing along the way. And I think I had as much fun just kind of picking out and kind of spotting these different things as I did reading the actual story that was playing out. And yeah, honestly, that's about it. Like, what else is there to say about this book? Like, if you're reading Red Country, you're a fan at this point. It really doesn't matter what I say about this book. Like, yeah, that's all, I think that's all I have to say about Red Country. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.